I really appreciate you doing this. It's Valentine's Day, you're ill, but you're still taking the time to answer the questions that we had prepared. What do you think men are doing wrong?
I just want to clarify, sorry about my voice. Whatever I say, it's not about every guy out there. So I don't want guys to take it personally and think, oh, well, I'm not like that. So it's not about that. It's just, I'm talking about some guys, some situations, some women. Okay. It's not always about what men are doing wrong. I think it's just the way men are raised. That can be a factor in how they are. So I'm not saying all the time either. It's not always about how they are raised. But I think that's a very generic question in a sense, like, because there's a lot of things that happen in relationships, a lot of good, a lot of bad. So it depends, like, what kind of area are you asking in regards to?
Me and Darshko have had this conversation where she went to private school, she was educated, she was taught to question things, she did a degree, she is a professional, she kind of worked her way up the career ladder, and then you're expected to be this other person in a relationship. And so that's probably one extreme where she's always taught to question things and kind of fight for her
Exactly. So it's
place
upbringing.
within.
Yeah.
On the other end of the scale, there's potentially the expectation of men for the woman to be subservient. I am the man, I tell you what to do, and you should do what I say.
The Zaman has changed and it is both sides now. So if a woman is like that, I think it's a great thing. Even now to today, I mean, it's not even just before, even today, you'll get women saying, or your mother saying, your grandma Bibia saying, "Koi na tu chup kar ja," like the girl, right? And I think that is so wrong because why women? Why do we? Sanu kyo chup karna penda? Why can't the guy kind of give in, you know? And I'm not saying guys don't, but it doesn't help when people around us, you know, if there's two people in a relationship, people around us are saying, "Oh yeah, you know what? You should," dictating sort of thing. It's like they shouldn't be doing that because they've already lost as women by saying these things and giving the women a second class. And that's not what, you know, even Grenada, they didn't put women down like that. And we do that.
If you're not married yet, Benji, and I can think of scenarios where somebody is courting, so they're going to get married, or they have the intention to get married, and they're having lots of conflicts and lots of fights. Are you saying that it doesn't matter so much about having conflict, it's about whether you have the means of communicating to be able to resolve that conflict?
I think it's the depth of arguments you have. And it can be very confusing because of what we see around us. So from what I see, you do see couples who probably argue a lot, but then they love each other as much. And it's like they'd rather be together and be arguing with each other than actually splitting up and living without each other. But then you got couples who are like, you know what, we argue too much, that's it, done. But I think both works. I think both is okay. I don't think there's like a wrong or right answer. And the more I speak about relations, more I speak about women, men, and personality traits, I realize how actually big of a how many things you can actually speak about in regards to these things and issues.
I get a lot of messages from males saying, you know, what should I be asking a bibby if I meet somebody? What should I be looking for in somebody? So it'd be interesting to get the other perspective, like the female perspective. What is the right way to approach somebody?
The key way to approach a person is obviously, we all know, the arranged marriage way. But even in that regard, things are starting to change. There's some Sikhi websites, I think. One of the aunties was telling me about some websites I should sign up on. Even that's come up now, which wasn't there before, where you can meet people and speak to people. I think as long as you are trying to get with somebody in a respectful way, you approach them in a respectful way, your aim is to marry them, to settle down with them, then I think you're going about it the right way, right? And so whether it's, you know, through someone or if it's through one of those apps, you know, no judgment, and or even yourself, if you got the guts to kind of ask or even talk about marriage to this person yourself, then fine. Some may not agree, some may, but I'm just saying that obviously these three are the options. And if you are doing it in a respectful way and for the right reasons, and you asked another question, also what men look for, what women look for in men, was it? I think it varies obviously from woman to woman. Some might want a confident guy because they're a confident woman. So, for example, with me, if I was to meet somebody, he has to be. I mean, for me, he doesn't have to be confident. He doesn't have to be. He could be. Maybe he's not that confident, but because I'm into my fitness and martial arts, he's got to be on the same level as that. So he needs to be a guy that is into gym or is into martial arts. But saying that, that can always change for me as well. I'm one of them. I think personality will probably pull me more than anything. Whereas some women, it might be ambition, or they might want to be with somebody who's got, a job. He gets paid well. I think it just totally depends on the woman, what she is like, and then probably compatible to that. Or some people they just don't mind, they just might go for the looks, and then realize, oh, there's a whole lot of baggage behind that look.
When I met Darshan Kaur, she had this like folded up pieces of paper with 30 different questions. And
oh wow, okay.
Yeah, that was our first interaction. It was a bit like an interrogation, and I had to pass each question in order to progress onto the next stage of the next question and the next meeting.
Yeah.
Whereas I didn't have any questions for her. I thought she's a Gursik, she does Kirtan, she must be amazing. And that was just amazing enough to be able to get married to a Gursik. In your opinion, do you think it's important for somebody to have some idea of what the other person's interests are, whether they're on the same page about something, whether they have the same goals, like whether they both want to have kids or whether they both want to live with in-laws or not, or move to a different country? Or do you think it's more about having a connection and then those things evolve over time? What's your opinion?
I think it would be wise to kind of clarify things. So if, I was supposed to be with somebody, if I'm talking to somebody and then they say, oh, well, I don't want kids in the future, for me, that would be a no-go, because I do want kids, hopefully one day. So for me to be with someone who's told me from the start that, I don't want kids, it's like, what am I continuing for? So I don't think it makes sense for somebody to ask these relevant questions. So obviously what Darshan Benji did was actually good. It's quite funny actually, because I've never heard someone to do that. But that it's kind of clever in a way what she done, because she's clarifying everything in the future. So she's moving on, thinking, okay, he said this is. But you know what the sad thing about all this is? Sometimes you can ask questions, get the right answers that you want to hear, but it's not followed through. And that's the sad thing, because you've made promises, you said you'll do this, you said you'll do that, or, you've ticked the right boxes, kind of pretended to be into the same things maybe, but it's not actually been that. And it's scary, because that's what it is actually like now as well, how people can just portray a certain picture of themselves and it's not the same picture after. And that's where I think divorce rates are up as well now, because it's like when people find out, or they're not getting along, it's like, that's it, we're gone, sort of thing. Yeah. Whereas before, they'll probably let it go.
I was having a conversation with a girl the other day in relation to the podcast, and she was saying how she was with somebody for 5 years, and as soon as they got married, the person flipped. And I was shocked at that, because I thought with arranged marriage, you don't really know somebody, so yeah, they can put on a bit of a pretense. But if you know them beforehand, you know what they like, you know their family,
exactly.
You know their friends. So I was surprised that someone can keep up a facade for that long, and then after they get married, then the person can change.
Exactly. And people do change, and it's sad. And you hear cases of people are together for years, and then they moved on really quick as well. It happens, and it's scary. It just gets scarier out there, if you ask me. And that's why it's harder to get married as well. It's harder because people just, I'm not even too sure. I think, are they calling me Leah? I don't know, but it is.
I think it's harder. I have lots of patients who struggle now. And I think it wasn't this difficult, even though there was less options back in the days. You'd go to the Gurdwara maybe and put your name down, or you'd ask rishtedars before social media and before the internet.
That's what I mean. That why is it harder now when we have more social media platforms? We have more people in the world. You know, there's more connections. More people are more confident. You know, people are more like, you know, they speak up, but you still get more divorce rates and everything. Like, and it's hard to get rishta in. You know, it's just like what? Whereas before you didn't have all this, and you could fix people up like that. The reason things don't work out for long term these days is because people want it easy. They want an easy way out. Or if I was in a relationship, I would want to fight for it, and I would want to, you know, try and make it work. Because if I've started a journey, I should want to finish it, not just, you know, be with this person. Oh, it's hard, so let me move on to the next one. Oh, it's difficult again, let me move on. That's not how it should be. But so that's the main reason I think that things don't work out for people, is because, you know, it's the whole understanding is one, obviously what I mentioned earlier, and two, you see an easy way, and you run, basically.
Can I share my opinion on that?
Sure, everyone has their own opinion. By the way, I'm not trying to say I'm all right, but it's just something what I think because of experience. I
am reading Will Smith's autobiography at the moment, and he talks about his issues with Jada Pinkett, who's still his wife. And they were, obviously they don't come from a Sikh background, so they don't have perhaps the same values or the same ideologies. But he was saying how when they were going to get married, they wanted to run a marathon together. And then if they made it through the 24 miles, that would be a symbolism for marriage, how it was going to be that tough and that grueling and that difficult and take that much endurance for them. But at the end, it was going to be worth it, and they would be coming out of that thing together. And I feel like with marriage now, we watch a lot of movies, and myself included, and we have this Disney interpretation or this Bollywood interpretation of what relationships are like. And then when they're challenging, then it's like, wait a minute, I didn't know this was part of it. So we do potentially more willing.
Yeah, because I mean, everyone has ups and downs, obviously, and you know that you're married. I'm sure you've had problems where you're like, headache, like, you know, stress, and you know, and then there's times you're so happy and you're like, whoa, did we ever have problems? You know, you go through both. That also links into then love as well, when people say, oh, you know, we love each other and all that. And I think, you know, it's true, like people want a stress-free life like the movies, but it's not like that, and you will have problems. People will make mistakes. You know, people want it all cushy. They want it, you know, argument-free, stress-free. That's the kind of life they want. But they need to realize it's not always going to be like that. I mean, maybe it could be like that if they get with somebody who's, you know, as we were talking before we went live about women who just take it and they'll just listen to anything, you know, the in-laws say or the husband says, just because it will make them happy. And necessarily, and sometimes it's not even something she would necessarily do. They're just doing it for them.
Darshanko's opinion on that is that it will always come out in some way. So if you have suppressed anger or anxiety or resentment, it will come out in potentially illness or mental health issues. And she said it's never just a person being submissive. That energy, that negative energy has to go somewhere. We talked earlier about confidence and how you come across really confident. And I think that's what attracts a lot of people to your energy and your page. And a lot of people follow you because of that reason. But we talked about how for men, some men may potentially be intimidated by that same confidence. What are your thoughts on men being scared of confident women?
I think some men like that the women are confident. So one of my best friends, she's married, and her husband and her the reason they got together was because she does boxing, and he really liked that about her, and obviously everything else, her personality. But on top, when he found out she does boxing, he was full on like, oh yeah, punch yeah, like, he made a thing out of it. Like, he was really passionate about what she does. Whereas you might get some guys where the woman is confident, she has a page running or anything like that, she's good at something, but they will be like, we don't need to, it's like they're trying to push it to the side, or they would want them to stop it completely, which makes me think that, okay, clearly those types of guys fear confident women. Maybe in their head, that's not normal. That's not how women should be. And if the women are confident, and if they do stand their ground, and if they are doing great and they're out there, it's like, oh, goody daya. And it's like, but I bet you if it was a guy out there and a guy who was confident, it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter, it's fine. It would be just classed as, normal behavior. And that's not fair. And that's why one of the reasons I run the page, Combat Kaur, on Instagram, because I want people to combat these issues. I want women to come out and, be more confident. And if they are in a relationship right now where they feel the guy makes them feel inferior or makes them feel feared, or, feels like they're controlling them, they need to come out of it. They do. And I know I've heard before about women saying, oh, but I'm too weak, right? No, you're not weak. By saying you're weak, you're making yourself weak. Anyone is strong enough to leave anyone, right? As long as you know, in my head, I don't deserve this treatment. I deserve better. And that's not ego talking that, oh, I deserve better. It's just self-love. If someone's disrespecting you or swearing at you or anything like that, you need to know that you need to step away if it's not stopping, because that is mental abuse as well. And I hope, even with my page, that people are kind of getting influenced, because I do get people coming up to me and saying, oh, I saw this video, you're like, you got this weight ball and you're just smashing it, love it. And it's like, yes, that's the kind of energy I want women to have, be the best human you can be, and then be most confident, be the most positive. And
how would you increase your confidence? I used to be very shy and timid, and Darshan used to call me a mute. And she used to say, I can't believe I married a mute. And now I can't stop talking. How do you bring the confidence out in somebody? Particularly like myself, I probably would struggle in today's day and age, how I was then.
Yeah.
Because I was very shy. Do you have any recommendations for guys or girls who are suffering from shyness or low self-esteem or low confidence?
Well, from my own experience, I wasn't born confident, obviously. I think tough times made me confident. And I know they say tough time makes you stronger, but for me, it wasn't just making me stronger. It made me more confident. So I am grateful for any pain I've got throughout my life, any obstacles I've had to face, whether it's because of extended family, I don't know, falling out with friends, or when my engagement broke off. All those things made me more confident, more stronger woman, and I could see more clearly what I deserve and what I need in my life instead of what I want. Because there's always a difference between what you want and what you actually need for yourself. When people do go through things, I think it's the way you handle it. So with me, obviously, I decided to take the positive out of what I went through, and obviously I brought out positive personality traits. So for me, confidence is a good personality trait, right? Having confidence. And obviously with my Combat Kaur, I started doing it more. I started posting more. I started, and I think for everyone it's different. Like some people will go through things, but they won't let that help them grow. And I think that's important for them too. So definitely one would be obviously going through obstacles and coming out stronger and more confident. Number two would be being active. So if you join a gut team, or if you want to join MMA, if you want to join taekwondo, any of these things, or even just sports, playing tennis, football, cricket, anything, be more active. And I think these kind of things, or even gym, my favorite, if you do these things, it helps your confidence as well, being fit physically.
If you're in a long-term relationship, in particular, I was as well, prior to getting into Sikhi, I was in a long-term relationship, got into Sikhi, so then broke that off, and that was a number of years as well. So I think that period of when you're so familiar and so used to having a person in your life, having that confidant, having that companionship, and then to lose that, I think that can be such a jarring, traumatic experience. Sometimes it can be like grieving. Especially, it's probably worse than grieving in a way, because you can see that other person has moved on, or is potentially just there at the end of the phone. So there's a lot of potential magnetism driving you back to, or habitual behavior driving you back to that person. How do you get the strength to overcome that, which is potentially the most traumatic thing someone's going to go through in their young life?
So, like with every time you ask me a question, I'm going to start with myself. So if my recent depressing episode was in April, May time, and if I'm honest, it knocked me down, but it didn't knock my confidence down. So I was knocked down in the sense of I'm not going to lie, and I'll be open about this. I was very upset. I lost my voice then as well, but I wasn't ill. It was actually because of what I was going through. Because when I found out, I was crying so much, so I lost my voice. And that's like, and for me, when I look back, I'm thinking that's a joke. Like, I can't believe I lost my voice. But you know what? At the same time, I'm like, no, I'm not going to beat myself up about it because I actually got low. It just meant I have a heart. It means I had love, I had care for that person, right? For when my engagement ended. And it was like so that happened, that I lost my voice. I didn't really want to go to work, but I did. I dragged myself out of bed. Didn't really want to eat, couldn't really sleep, and that was just about a week. And that's after a week I bounced back up. And I was just like, is that normal? So not only did my engagement end, you see, this person moved on. And it was hard, like, because you mentioned, it's hard to see that. It was really hard that, we just broke up 2 weeks back, and then it was just ended and you just moved on. And that's why I felt like I can't lift myself. But my confidence was still there, because when I went to work, or when I went to gym, or was meeting my friends, the confidence was still there. I was still taught to people, and I'm thankful to Maharaj that he didn't knock my confidence down. Yeah, he knocked me down because obviously I had expectations, which I could maybe say kind of my fault too. But I'm thankful to Maharaj that it wasn't enough to kind of knock my self-esteem, my confidence and whatnot. Whereas some people do get like that. Some people's confidence get knocked down. Some people's self-esteem is down because of what they're going through. But to bring it back up, you need to realize to live in the moment. That's what you need to do. You need to live in the moment. So right now, where are you? These are the kind of things that can help a person when they're going through a bad time. Where are you? Are you in your bedroom? Are you in the kitchen? What can you see? Oh, I can see my bottle of spray. I can see my bathrobe. Look around you, live in that present. That really helps. What can you smell? I can smell fresh air. What can I hear? Oh, I can hear my brother talking to my dad. That's where I am right now. Live in the present. And it's true, if you live in the present, he did to me and she did to me, because that's what's depressing the person of what they went through. And that's why your self-confidence, your self-esteem will come down, because you keep thinking about something that's happened. All you can do is basically move forward by living the present and thinking about, okay, what I'm going to do now about it. Go and get a new hobby. Go to the gym. Let that stress out. And it's okay to cry as well. I'm not even saying, be a boss woman or a boss man all your life. And no, you are going to be, you will hit a rock. And you know what? The truth is, life is always going to give you obstacles, always. And that's life. It's about how you face them and how you go about them. And what you need to do is, when you are hit with an obstacle, try and come out of it positive. Have your cry. I'm not even saying that. Have your cry. Have your junk food. Watch movies. Do what you need to do. But then after that, all the crying and all the depression, give yourself some time and be like, no, I'm going back out. And once you've gone back out, and once you are, and I don't mean back out like, oh, actually step out the door. Yeah, you can do that one as well. But as in, get out of that sadness for a second. And where you're actually going through life and you're enjoying life again, you're thinking, oh, I'm getting better now. But then you might fall again. Something might trigger you and you might feel sad again. You might cry again. But that's okay as well. As long as you know you're making steps like that and you're trying, because it's hard to get up once you fall. But if you do it yourself, you're a warrior, and we're all warriors. I believe we're all warriors, and we all have tools to get through things. We all have tools to get through depression, anxiety, but we just need to learn to use them. We need to learn to overcome and think that, okay, this is going to be hard work, just how whatever you're going through was hard work. To get back up will be hard work, but you just need to kind of get through it by turning yourself, listen to all the options you have, like the things you can do in life, things you have in life. And I think one last thing, we forget to be grateful for things we do have. Hence, when the bad things come to us, we think it's the end all and be all, because we don't look around us and think, oh, hold on a second, I have family. Do you know how many people out there don't have families, don't have real parents, don't have siblings? And you're sitting there with mom, dad, granddad, grandma, and whatnot. And, be thankful for that. And when you start thinking about things you have and friends as well, like I have amazing friends, I'm so thankful for that as well. And I remind myself as well through everything that I have a great supportive family. I have one brother, mum, dad, who I live with, support me through everything, always have. And friends as well, and even community, like maybe your local sangat, maybe always count the good in life, and these are things will uplift you 110% out of that rut you're in.
I think that's really good advice for somebody who perhaps can't find a partner, even and is good for somebody who's going through a tough time in any phase of life, whether it's through a relationship.
And one more thing, some people think that being with somebody will give them that happiness. So, say if you're going through a breakup and then you just kind of move on to somebody else, some people might think that, oh, you get that from that person, you just need to latch on to someone. No, you're a stronger person if you've gone through a breakup or you've gone through a hard time in life and you've gone through it yourself. That's so much better, because you're healing, you're doing you concentrate on you, focus on you, maybe growing your sikhi without having to lean on someone else. So trust me, having a partner ain't always the answer.
Maybe I think we're going to have to do a part 2, because there's so much more I want to ask you. But
yeah, it's been a good conversation, if I'm totally honest. Yeah,
I think it will add a lot of value to people. I want to ask you a bit of a contentious thing, and it's related to caste, because when me and Darshika were getting married, someone asked us what caste we were, and I was thinking, oh, what does that matter? But in
caste, okay.
Yeah, the real life scenario is that even though the two people might not care, the extended family might care. And so that is, I think, still prevalent in our community. What are your thoughts on caste system? And is that something someone should ask before they potentially go any further to avoid issues later on?
I think Sikhi Torte, no, you don't need to ask, right? At the same time, I think if you asked what's wrong with that, if I just ask you like, oh yeah, what caste are you supposed to be, or in that kind of way. But I think what it is in Sikhi, Maharaj got rid of it because when you take Amrit, obviously you become the same, don't you? You're doing the same things. You're doing the same, like Nitnem, Simran, Kirtan. You're doing the same thing. So then it doesn't matter. But I think if you're Amritarian and you're not doing these things and you should be, then obviously it becomes a problem, because you probably do these rituals.
And where can people get in contact with you? I know you have a YouTube page. I was watching it yesterday, so I'm going to link to that in the description box below. There's Instagram.
Yep.
Where else can they?
Instagram. I got Twitter, and and that was thank you to Basics of Sikhi. I actually got Twitter because on Independence Women's Day, they had put a video of me doing Gatka, so I'm thankful for that. And then I decided to kind of make my own page, so Combat Kaur on Twitter. I also made a TikTok. So Combat Kaur on TikTok. And that's it. Oh, and Facebook. I got a Facebook page as well, Combat Kaur. So
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Yeah. And I hope no one's been offended by what I said. It's all like personal experiences that I felt I wanted to share and what I went through. And, you know, and I'm not trying to say all guys are the same. I'm not trying to say all women are the same. So I just want to clarify that again. Okay.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa.
Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.